Hi there, it's Julie Reid here from Portfolio Oomph again on our Thursday lunchtime questions and answers, but just a general kind of information giving session. Yep, it's Thursday, it's about 1:45, so hopefully you're on your lunch break if you're at college or at school and you get a chance to catch up here, but if not, we'll post this to the page afterwards if you missed the live recording. So what I wanted to talk to you about today was feedback. Feedback from college applications that you may already have made. If you've applied to our college this year, or if you've applied for foundation courses or further education colleges throughout Britain or even abroad, if you haven't been accepted this year, then it's really important that you get some feedback. It's kind of like trying to find a needle in a haystack. If you don't really know what part of your portfolio let you down. If you've submitted a digital portfolio and you've not got an interview, or if you've submitted a digital portfolio and you've had an interview and then your portfolio has not been successful, you really need to get some feedback about which aspects of your application haven't been successful. You won't get specific feedback about your actual portfolio. How do we term it? You will get feedback about your portfolio, but it won't be specific to the pieces of work. It won't be kind of itemised to your portfolio. You'll probably get some kind of grade, and all the colleges are different. So we've looked this week at 2 different colleges from students who've had feedback, and the colleges categorise it into the areas that they're looking for in the feedback. So they'll be looking at your research and investigation, they'll be looking at your development, they'll be looking at final pieces, they'll be looking at which artist designers you've been looking at, and they'll term these things differently at different colleges. They'll also have different grading systems at all the different colleges. So one lot of feedback we looked at this week, the grades were based from 1 to 5 on each section. Another one we looked at this week was grades based from 1 to 20. Some colleges also do an A, B, C, D, E grade. But what you need to do when you get this information and when you get the feedback is not just look at what grades you scored in the feedback, but you also need to know what the threshold is. What grade do you need to get to be getting offered a place? So if you're achieving 3s and 4s out of 5, you're doing pretty well, but what do you need to get in? You may find that you need to get 5 5s or 4 5s and a 4. There'll be grades and there'll be numbers that they can advise you on what kind of marks you need to be hitting to get applications successful at these colleges. So that's really important feedback. You need to get that feedback because you need to know which parts of your portfolio are weaker, and you need to know how you can make improvements if you're gonna apply again. So as I say, they can't give you individual feedback about specific projects and specific, the actual content of your portfolio. But what I can do is, if you have a portfolio that hasn't been successful, and if you have the feedback from that portfolio, we can look at how and where there's room for improvement. So we've talked about this with 2 students this week, but it's something that you need to think about. Also, you need to think about if you haven't got in this year, what are the opportunities for next year? What's your plan? Last week we talked about applying to foundation courses. So that might be a plan. Further education college courses are all opening at the moment here in Scotland. I'm sure they are probably across the UK. So start delving about and looking about at possibilities if you're going to apply again. Please don't apply again next year with the same portfolio. That's really a no-no. We have a free ebook if you want to go on our website. In the downloads section, there's a free ebook called What to Do If You Don't Get In. And it's from first-hand advice, because I didn't get in the first year I applied. I didn't ask for any feedback when I didn't get in, but this was years ago. And just worked pretty hard the next year at improving my portfolio. Again, actually, I don't think I knew what needed improved, but it kind of just resulted, I think the improvements resulted as part of just being really persistent and wanting to get in and just working really hard. So yeah, that's really what we wanted to talk just to you about today, was getting feedback. So if you have got feedback and you do want us to have a look at the feedback and have a look at your portfolio, then, you know, get in touch through the website. We've got a contact form. You can get in touch through Facebook here if you want to. We could arrange just for an hour of mentoring, just to take stock, have a look at what's going on, see what the options and possibilities are. And that might be enough to get you on your way for next year. But, you know, let's be realistic and think that, you know, there's obviously going to be improvements needed. The one thing as well is, you know, you might find that you submitted a portfolio and you are, you know, sort of a cat's whisker away from being accepted. We had that with a student. This student needed one more point to be accepted. And you can see which categories that point is, but it's about kind of addressing and improving and building upon what's already there. And yeah, it can be quite a challenge when you're that close to being accepted, and it's really frustrating. It's frustrating as well because you were really close. And every year, you know, I look at portfolios every year, and I cannot honestly say to you, if you come to see me as a student, that you will get in or you won't get in. Every year it depends on what the competition is. It depends on who else is applying. There may be hundreds of students that have done a fabulous course, I don't know, in France. I don't know. I'm kind of just trying to pick scenarios, but you know, you're always up against your competition, and if that competition is particularly good that year, then obviously the standards are higher. So anyway, has anybody got any questions? If you've got any questions that you want to ask about I don't know, feedback, or about college, or about applying, anything that you can think of, just type it in the box below if you've got questions. If you've got questions later on in the day, you can still come back to this video if you want to and ask us some questions. We'll try and do our very best to answer them. But yeah, I mean, questions about anything at the moment are fine, but I'll wait on just a few more minutes here and just see if we've got any questions from anybody. And if not, then we will finish up for today's session and catch you again next week. Okay, so I'm guessing it's fairly quiet. I'm not seeing any comments coming up in the comments box. So anyway, yeah, go to the website if you want to get our ebook about what to do if you don't get in. Some really good advice there about how to go about the challenge of getting into your sort of dream college. And hopefully having a good week. We always talk about the weather in Britain because it's so changeable. Today it's kind of rainy and a bit cold, but then the sun's out. So I hope you're having a nice day wherever you are, and it's warm, and yeah, you can get out. Okay, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.